As technology advances today, gone are the days of relying on traditional cash transactions. So with me here today is Mr. Otika Pesa Pal, who will be explaining to us more about embracing cashless systems and on how it can impact our businesses in our business operations today, of course. Thank you for joining me today. Well, for starters, if we are to start with maybe for out there who have embraced cashless systems in their business operations, one could say they are maybe worried about the charges that could come in. One would think maybe they will incur lots of losses in their businesses. What would be your take on that?
Thank you for that. So maybe before we go to the point of charges, I would like to point out some of the challenges that come with cash. So cash, by its nature, does not account for itself. So I'll give you an example. If I give you 20,000 shillings,
Okay.
you can only confirm that you received it, but on my end, I have no proof that I gave it to you except for your word or a receipt that you give me. So in terms of accountability, it's a bit flaky. And then we can also touch on the risks, such as handling cash is risky. If you're moving with a million shillings in your pocket, you cannot walk comfortably, knowing that you could get robbed at any time. You would have to deal with things like fake notes. So some of these risks come naturally with handling cash. So the cost of transportation, for example. But if you go cashless, you automatically get benefits such as automatic reconciliation. So you know when and where you made the payment. If I pay you using mobile money, on my end, I have my own statement that I can use to prove that I paid you. In terms of security, you're not moving with physical cash. So you feel much safer, irrespective of how much you're moving with. So I would move away from focusing on the charge and focus more on the value you're getting, which is security, you have accountability, and so much more. And then, financial inclusion. If you need a loan, you can use your statements to make a point.
So in your own take, you feel like it's really better to go the cashless way than.
I think it's the way to go, really.
Okay. Yeah.
You can monitor your spending, you you know where your money has gone, and make your better plans.
Well, you talked about accountability. How do the cashless systems affect businesses? Let's go back a little bit to the charges. Like, would someone, let's say, maybe doing a transaction of maybe 1 million shillings, like, what would be the impact for me to deal with that amount, or maybe less than that?
I'll give an example. So, but if you work with a reputable service provider like Pesa Pal, if you use our point of sale machine at any supermarket, restaurant, or business, and you swipe using your Visa card, you will not be charged. So if you're swiping a million shillings and you check your bank statement, it will only be a million shillings less. So there's a zero charge depending on which provider you go with. Understand the terms and conditions of your transaction. Understand the fees. Regularly check your statements to make sure you understand any charges that come about. But if I am to speak for Pesa Pal, using your Visa or MasterCard on any Pesa Pal machine does not incur any cost to the one making the payment.
Well, I would love to agree that the digital transformation is at a high rate right now globally. One would ask, how does the cashless system impact our economy?
Okay. There are several ways cashless can impact our economy. The first is it offers transparency, because the very fact that transactions are recorded automatically, both for the business owner and the government, they're able to have real-time visibility on payments. And then you have the point of financial inclusion. So financial inclusion means, can I go to a financial institution such as a bank and get a loan to start a business? If I have been receiving my payment in cash, I cannot prove with enough confidence about how my transactions have been going about. But if I've been using electronic means or cashless means, I can go with a statement for the last 2-3 years and use that to to ask for financing. So in the area of financial inclusion, you have great benefits by going cash.
Wow, I'm talking about financial inclusion. If I was to take it to the root of investment, how do these systems maybe attract more of the domestic or foreign investors in our country today?
Okay. Let me start with foreign investors. Imagine you're an investor, you've identified an opportunity in the country. One of the first things you need to know is my money safe? Um, is the infrastructure available for me to process payments? So I'll give an example of an entrepreneur that is setting up a hotel on the top of Kololo Hill. Their customers will be primarily foreigners who are familiar with cashless means. As an investor, I'll ask myself, is there a payment infrastructure that will allow my customers make payments to me? Yes, and so Pesa Pal has invested in that area. For example, we have a product called Reserve Port, which is a top-of-the-line system that enables hotels accept online payments as well as manage their hotel inventory. So having such systems or solutions or infrastructure gives foreign investors as well as local investors the confidence that they can invest in the economy. They'll have visibility, you reduce cases of theft, cases of handling money, and overall it inspires confidence to foreign investors. For the local investors, I'll go back to the point of financial inclusion. By going digital, you have access to transaction history, so you can use that to access loans to start a small business. Yeah. And also another benefit with cashless is investors now have access to data. So if all business is done offline, cashless, there's not enough data for me to make a business decision as an investor. But if the bigger part of the transactions in a country are digital, there will be some valuable insights that I can then use to make some investment decisions.
Wow. So while we were starting this whole conversation, you talked about the challenges that could come with one using cash. So when it comes to technology systems, most of these systems are prone to cybersecurity risks. How would you say maybe the cashless systems is trying to go away with these risks, or how are you trying to mitigate such risks? Yeah.
Okay. It's good you asked. Cash has its risks, but so does digital. Everything has a risk.
Yeah.
But with technology is ever changing. But if I'm to start from the basics, at Pesa Pal, the first step before you even become a customer is we need to know who you are. So we have something called KYC, which is Know Your Customer. It's a set of documents or requirements that we ask for that shows you are a legitimate business. So the first step is to make sure that we are dealing with proper entities, fully registered businesses. And then the second is the actual infrastructure. So when the customer swipes their machine on our POS terminals or makes a payment online on our services, the data is encrypted. So encryption means that when you enter your PIN, it is transmitted over the air. Is it secure? So encryption makes sure that whoever is trying to sniff or look at your data cannot break it, so your data is safe. So encryption helps with that. And then you have fraud detection. So we have tools in place that constantly monitor transactions. If there's a sudden spike in transactions or a transaction amount, we come in to see what is wrong. Then also it helps to have fraud prevention. So there's monitoring and then there's prevention. with tools like 3D Secure, which require you, especially for online payments, to enter a one-time PIN to complete a payment. So fraud prevention, and then there's subscription to regulatory bodies like Bank of Uganda, the FIA, who constantly provide guidelines on how to secure the payments infrastructure.
This one person was
Yeah.
like, if let's say they faced the cyber fraud in their company,
Yeah.
instead of maybe arresting these people, they would just call them in and
Yeah.
and make a deal. And they're like, you know what, you're good at what you did. I want you to help me to make sure no other frauds that can come into my systems, and I'll pay you money. Would you advise a business person to take that route?
Um, as a business, I think you should focus on what you're good at. So if you're in the business of providing, payment services, then possibly yes. I would want to understand my threats much better. If it means getting close to them to see how we can improve on our security, I would say yes. You can always learn. If you're building a security system, of course, it helps to have some thieves as consultants.
Yes. Wow. Anyway,
Using the right channels.
that's true, yeah, yeah. So when it comes to the cashless systems, you talked about transparency some time back. So how would transparency, accountability, like genuinely impact a positive force on the businesses today in Uganda?
Okay. So accountability is a natural. It comes by default with cashless payments. So in terms of transparency, as a business owner, you have immediate visibility on how your business is doing. So for example, recently we launched a product called Forecourt Management System, which allows petrol station owners manage their operations efficiently. Meaning from my desk, I'm able to see how much fuel is left in the reserves. I'm able to see which pump is performing well. And if I now combine this with a cashless payment system, I can know exactly how my business is doing at any time. I could be in Italy somewhere, doing other business, but I'm confident that the business is still running. I can monitor it. So yeah, that's one of the benefits in terms of transparency when it comes to, yeah. And then from the tax collector's point of view, it also enhances tax compliance because the regulatory bodies are now able to have some visibility on your transactions.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with this whole conversation, thank you for joining us. I would like you to maybe give our viewer a beautiful, let's say, some encouragement when it comes to the cashless systems, why they should maybe embrace them, like you said anyway, yeah, to improve on their business operations today.
Okay. I would suggest try it out. If you have maybe a mobile money account or a bank account, try and use your Visa card to make a payment at the supermarket. You will realize that the benefits outweigh the costs. You'll be able to account for your money. You'll be able to build your financial credit history, which can then open up more opportunities for you as an individual or as a business. And yeah, all the best.
Thank you once again for joining us tonight. So like he said, with increased security, enhanced transparency and customer satisfaction, these systems can present a compelling proposition if you want your businesses to thrive in the digital world. Allow me to take you back to the studio.